So, a few years ago, getting sneakers for a reasonable price was very hard. The resellers were at their peak and weren't trying to bargain, but now you can virtually get anything you want. In this video, I'll be explaining what is the reason for this sneaker heaven. First, let's go back a little bit to like 2021, where I think is the peak of sneakers. This is around the time that Dunks and SBs boomed. This is when I feel like companies started to see like the reselling is taking over the market and they don't really benefit off this, and people aren't buying shoes as much. This is a direct correlation to the influx of people buying reps in the following years. At this time, we saw a surge of people botting sneakers too. If you don't know, bots are just ways to buy a bunch of sneakers at one time, but they're faster than humans. So these resellers were buying bots to buy shoes, then sell them. The problem is that the consumers were just shit out of luck. We couldn't get the shoe for retail because we weren't faster than the bots. And so the resale was so high that it made you not even want the shoe anymore. Then we see the reselling bubble pop. People start to realize that they aren't going to pay these crazy prices for regular shoes. Like back then, Pandas were reselling for $300. $300, bro. Like a black and white Dunk. Not even an SB, a Dunk reselling for $300, bro. That's crazy. And after this, one of two things was happening. Either you just stopped buying shoes altogether, or you just bought reps. Sites like PandaBuy, which I've heard has been taken down, saw a huge surge of users because people were tired of being taken advantage of. And it just made no sense to buy these shoes at the prices they were being listed. Now, what is very important here is how these big shoe brands responded to this. Like I said before, they didn't benefit from people buying sneakers because the consumers weren't getting the shoes, making people turn towards reps, ultimately hurting the brand in the long run. One of the first steps made was by Nike when they re-released the Panda Dunks, which they did like 6 different times. That's why Pandas aren't worth $10, bro. Like they re-released that shoe 6 different times, and they probably released like 3,000 pairs each time. Like, bro, it's so many pairs of Pandas. I think that might be the most released like Dunk ever. But re-releasing a shoe makes the shoe less scarce, in turn making the price of the shoe go down, making it easier for the consumer to purchase said shoe. This was only just the beginning for brands such as Nike. Everybody started re-releasing shoes in order to flood the market and satiate the demand. Once that was taken care of, they just started releasing new shoes, but at a higher rate. It felt like every week we were getting a new shoe. And I feel like they also like upped the quantity of shoes they were releasing. Like, of course they were releasing newer shoes and newer colorways or whatever, but I feel like they were also upping the quantity in which they released. Like instead of releasing 1,000 pairs, they would release 3,000 or something like that. That's just how I feel, because there was just so much oversaturation in the market. But this was all done to eradicate the resellers, and using this tactic for the next couple of years worked. Reselling is pretty much dead. You can go on StockX or GOAT and get any shoe you really want because the resellers realize that no one will buy the shoes for a crazy price point if they can just get reps. And finding out that reps are made in the same factory as the real shoe did not help resellers in the slightest. Now you see a lot of resellers talking about how they are losing money and how the sneaker game is dead and it's not how it used to be. And in my opinion, the sneaker game isn't dead. It's just, like I said, not how it used to be. People think that because something changes or is different from before that it's worse, but everything has its pros and cons. So just because it's shifted doesn't mean it's worse off. But now that the price of these shoes have dropped, shoes feel like shoes again. They don't feel like an investment. People can wear their shoes again because they can afford to buy another pair if they get messed up. And the power is in the hands of the consumer instead of someone who is just looking for a profit. I think the culture is becoming way more genuine with people who want to buy sneakers because they really like sneakers. When that reselling bubble burst, the culture burst with it, tearing down all the fake sneakerheads and exposing people who just wanted a quick buck, and revealed who was really here for the love of the game. I did say before that the game is changing, but certain parts are definitely returning to how they used to be. In 2020 and 2021, because of COVID, COVID, there were people who became chronic online shoppers, me included. Now you can really go into a store and buy what you want. A lot of new releases are sitting for retail because of all the oversaturation, which was pretty much the goal. One thing that never really sat right with me though was the actual like resale stores in the mall. The reason why is because the prices are always like crazy high, bro. Like I can go on StockX and get this shoe for cheaper. The prices on StockX weren't this high. And then I can also go 2 doors down and get the exact same shoe for retail, bro. Sneakers are fun now that the business side has completely crashed. But that's the thing with the culture in the first place. It's not meant to be a business. Of course, when money is involved, it can be, but there has to be a balance. And when things are out of balance, you see what happens. Companies reset the order to bring stability. This might be the best era in sneakers. It's comparable to the early 2010s for sneakers when things weren't too overpriced, but retros were also hot back then. So were basketball shoes. Basketball shoes were going crazy. Like I feel like this time of basketball sneakers is actually crazy too. Like with the Shays, with the Ja Morants, the ADs, like every one of these shoes is going stupid. I'm not gonna lie, like these basketball shoes. And I feel like it's really coming back to where like you could really rock these off court. Like those new Shays, the brown ones with that nubuck leather on them, bro, those are crazy, bro. I'm not gonna lie, those are probably some of the craziest hoop shoes like I've seen, bro. But I ain't gonna lie, Shay's shoes have been going stupid. Like the Christmas red joints, like the red and the little green accents to it, those are crazy, bro. Shay got swag, so it also does a good thing with like promoting the shoe or pushing like that shoe forward. There are of course still shoes that are limited and still pricey, but mainly like the collabs, bro. The collabs are always gonna cost you, like the Travis Scotts or the Unions or the Fragments or like the Nigel Sylvester, who just came out with another Jordan 4. Fire, bro. Those are fire. I don't think they're as good as the Brick by Bricks, but they're definitely hard, bro. Nigel Sylvester has been doing this thing recently. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not even gonna try and cap. But now we don't have to fight bots for shoes, and I can really get what I want, and so can everyone else. But we are really seeing a trend of people straying away from Nike just because of the reselling problem I just talked about. But really the things that are trending are really just more bum shit. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's trendy to kind of look homeless now. Like you can't necessarily look homeless with J's on your feet. So that's why they've been straying away from wearing J's. I mean, of course, the sneakerheads are still going to fuck with the J's and shit, but the things that are trending now are just very different from what it was 3 years ago. But you see the effects of reselling and how the balance of the culture was completely shifted, and so many things were just left behind or completely destroyed. Around 2020 and 2022, like it was all about dunks and hype Jordans. Everyone had them and every brand was trying to like copy that look for real. And eventually people got tired of it. When something becomes just too common, people start looking for something different. That's why you see people experimenting with different brands and different silhouettes and just different shoes in general, because they got tired of seeing the Jordans and the dunks, or like especially like Jordan 1s and Nike SBs. They were just extremely popular, but they kind of ran its course and people didn't want to see that anymore. People were tired of that look and they wanted to look for something different. That's why you see an influx of people wearing the Solomons, or people even wearing like runners like New Balances. You see the influx of Asics just because people are tired and want to experiment with something new. J's have been popular for so long, bro. Like, and it's just, I can just go and get a shoe that's probably half the price of this, and it's kind of something new, something fresh. I mean, why not go and experiment with that? Like, I can't even hate on people for going and doing that. But I also understand it from a standpoint of like, the reselling was crazy back then, and paying those like exuberant amount of money for a shoe you liked was just insane, bro. Like, I get it. I understand why people went and bought the reps or went and just transitioned into a whole different like vintage look. That's why the streetwear looks different. What people produce and make looks different. Like the clothes look different. Like not in the sense of like style, because the style kind of went back to the early 2000s, but like in a sense of what they're putting on on with certain pieces. I've been seeing an influx, just me personally, of like thermals and long sleeves and layering a thermal with a oversized tee or something. Like I've been seeing these trends of different stuff, like especially going back to like the early 2000s. Like you can say this all started from the sneaker reselling because it got too much and it was so oversaturated that people just completely did a 180 and just shifted from that entire like culture. Like some people who were sneakerheads before don't even consider themselves sneakerheads now because of the connotation that it had, especially in like 2020 through 2023. Like the connotation that the sneaker reseller had, and kind of a little bit still has, it was bad. It was just like people who were hype beasts turned into sneakerheads and sneaker resellers. And so that's what people thought sneaker reselling was just being a hype beast, when no, being a sneakerhead is just a person who really likes learning about sneakers and really likes buying sneakers, not to resell them, but for themselves, like to put that shit on, bro. Like that's where all this shit stemmed from, was just wanting to put something on, bro. It wasn't from me trying to make a quick buck off the culture. It was because I liked the shoe and I could really put this shit on with a fit and really pop out on some shit. Like it strayed so far from the path and I hate it, bro. I hate that these hype beasts kind of turned the culture into something so volatile, bro. It didn't have to be this way, but when you mix business with pleasure, like this is what happens. Like everything just crumbles down. I'm not gonna lie, when people say the sneaker game is dead, I still honestly don't think that's true at all. The sneaker game just changed. A few years ago, everything was about hype, resale prices, and who could make the most money. But now things feel a lot closer to what sneaker culture was supposed to be in the first place. People are buying shoes because they actually like them, not because they think the price is going to go up. And honestly, that's what makes this feel like sneaker heaven. You don't have to fight bots. You don't have to pay crazy resale prices, and you can actually go out and buy the shoes you want. The hype might not be the same as it used to be, but the culture might actually be healthier because of it. And that's why sneakers are finally affordable again, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making this video for y'all. Y'all went crazy. Y'all have been going crazy. Well, the last video y'all didn't go as crazy, but I'm not mad at it. 300 views, I'm not mad at it. You know what I'm saying? I'm grateful for any amount of views I get on the video, but y'all went crazy on the 5 levels of sneaker culture, bro. It's at currently me making this video, it's at 1.2k. So I really appreciate that, and the watch time hours is almost 100. That's insane, bro. That's my most watched video. That's my first time getting 1,000 views on a video, first time getting 40 likes on a video. I really appreciate y'all and appreciate the love y'all been showing these videos. Keep running this up because I'm gonna keep making videos for y'all. And yeah, y'all like, comment, subscribe, and just like I said before and we'll say again, just so nice. You had to say it twice, man. I'm gone.